Hello, welcome to the Church Brand Guide podcast. My name is Michael Persad. Today we are going to be talking with Dain Jepson. He's the executive pastor of Montgomery Community Church in Cincinnati. This is a great story of how a church that was thriving was able to rebrand to better reach a post-pandemic world. You know, the pandemic happened and all the churches, we had to figure out how do we go online to reach people where they are, because there was no way for them to come and do church like they've been used to doing church in person. So a lot of adjustments were made. Many churches did this transition really well. Montgomery was one of those churches. Some churches did not do this well, and they're struggling, and other churches even closed the doors. But Montgomery's a great story of this is what a good success story looks like. And they even decided that they needed to rebrand so that coming out of the pandemic, on the backside of it, as people started to come back in person, they would be ready to engage with people online and in person. So they realized that, hey, they wanted to do this moving forward. They wanted to make sure they could still reach people because their reach increased. They were able to get people to come to church that were beyond the city limits of where they were, beyond the state. And they even saw people internationally coming and attending services through the online experience. So it was a great process. Dain's the executive pastor. He's the one that led the charge and pulled the team together. And we just have a great conversation about what that process looked like and some of the results that they're seeing early on as they've unveiled the new branding to the church. When you do it right, it really builds momentum, and that's what's going on with Montgomery. So it's a great thing. So we'll jump into that in just a moment. Hey, if you need help rebranding your church, you want to go through this process with me, or you just have questions about what is the process, what's the cost, how long does it take, those type of things, go to churchbrandguide.com and schedule a time with me. We'll get on a phone call. We'll get to meet each other. If we figure out that this is a good fit where I can work with you to help you go through this process, I would love to do that with you and your team. If not, at the very least, you can just ask some questions, get some answers, and I'd love to take a look at whatever, if you're like, hey, can you take a look at our logo? Can you take a look at our website? Anything like that. I just love the local church. I want to help you. So at the very least, you'll just get some great feedback on where you are. So go to churchbrandguide.com, schedule a time, let's get on a phone call, and let's just see what happens from there. All right, let's hop into our episode today, again with Dain, and let's have him help us walk through the process of rebranding the church, getting ready for ministry online and offline after the kind of the craziness of the pandemic has ended. All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Church Brand Guide podcast. Today, I'm hanging out with Dain Jepson. He's the executive pastor at Montgomery Community Church. Hi, Dain. Thanks for coming on today.
Oh, Michael, it's good to be with you. This has been a great journey.
It has. We've gotten to know each other over the last, probably really well over the last, probably 6 months, but we've actually met maybe a couple of years ago.
We did. It was good.
So, Dain, why don't you take a moment just to introduce yourself and what you do at the church?
Sure. Oh, great. As you mentioned, I'm the executive pastor at MCC. It's just been fantastic to be here. And part of my core areas that I really focus on is really to guide our strategy to meet our vision. And that's an exciting process because I get to work with a lot of different people, a lot of skill sets and talents and stuff. And the other one is I get to build into staff. And because our staff is so key and important in our process to really reach our community and empower our vision.
Yeah, what's your background? So you're here at Montgomery right now, Community Church up in Ohio, the Cincinnati area. But what's your background in ministry?
Yeah, so I'm wearing a jacket today. It's like 36 degrees out right now, but it's good. So a little bit of my background, I actually started out as a school teacher in the public school sector, which was a lot of fun. Worked with a lot of kids in junior high, as a matter of fact. But I moved from that area into being a school principal. But that brought me into really faith-based organizations. I always felt like living out your faith wherever you are is really important. But moving into the private school sector, Christian school was really good. From there, I actually stepped over into international orphan care, spent some time in the mission field, and really dove into cultures around the world, did a lot of travel, and was able to connect with people all around the world and on a faith base. And it was really just an awesome experience and stuff. I stepped into church development, organizational development at that point, and then now an executive pastor.
Wow, that's yeah. So we got to know each other a little bit. I thought it was your approach, just interacting with you, was just a wonderful thing for me personally. I love the way you kind of lead people through. We went through this branding process and it took a long time, but I love the way that you led people through that and just heard everybody's voice. We had young people and older people and people that were new to the church and people that have been there for a long time. And you just got this group of people to interact so well. It was great to see.
It was fun. And thank you for your work on it too, because I know that we went deep. It was good.
We did. In fact, just a quick side note. I remember we started a couple of years ago into the process, and I think you were the one that just said, hey, actually, we need a timeout. You're asking questions where we haven't really thought about some of these things.
Yeah, it was a growing process. And then we came into COVID, and it was just like, boy, the time's now. We really need to step into this, and we have a little clearer picture of where we need to go. Yeah. That's true.
So tell us about Montgomery. Tell us about MCC. Where are you guys headed?
Oh, good. This is great. We've had a vision for a while. Our vision is to be a diverse community, seeing future generations transformed by the gospel. And it's just a powerful vision. We want to be so Christ-focused with people. But here's the great part. When you think about Ephesians, you think about different parts of the New Testament, there was a lot of focus on how the kingdom, people saw the love of Christ through people, and it was through diversity. And something very important in that diversity is unity, coming together as a diverse body. You already mentioned it. Our team was very diverse and they came together, but we just wanted to bring unity because that's where people see our love. So we're really looking at how do we look at future generations, the good news of Jesus Christ, bringing that diversity together and just walk as one in unity. So one of our goals is to help people really live for more. And when you first hear it, it's like live for more what? Bigger houses, better jobs, stuff like that. No, that's not it. Living for more really is around experiencing God's love, walking in community and growing in community, and then finding your purpose in a relationship with God, and then your purpose to go out and serve in the kingdom, because he has work for us to do that. It's just going to bless us and bless the kingdom. So we're about doing that, but it's on focusing on Jesus and his love that he has for us and through us.
Yeah. And we, so as a church, you guys were doing some absolutely amazing things. It was just a matter of like, how do we pull that all together to where now somebody from the outside can understand who we are. So we created some language and some other things through the process to just help people understand you quicker.
Yeah. And that was great because the focus was, there's two parts to that focus and really balancing that. And you really helped us with that. One was to the person that may be opening up the door and saying, I'm interested. What is that? I want a greater touch point in there. What is faith and walking in faith? And the person that's been on the faith journey, but it just wants to continue growing and taking that next step to reach others and draw them in. So yeah, thank you for that. That was an exciting part, is finding that balance. And that was a challenge.
So what was the thing that initiated the branding conversation and just starting that journey?
Oh, that's good. So what initiated it was really from our lead pastor just before I came to MCC, was looking at this incredible heritage of MCC. And MCC has been around for a while, for close to 50 years, and had an incredible impact in our community. And as he was looking at it, he's going, wow, we can really reach people better. We can elevate our connectivity into our community through a new brand, relevant brand, and through a new website that really touches on sort of that next step journey process. So that's what really prompted it. And as we stepped in, we had to do, like you mentioned, some deep digging and some work internally to say, okay, are we ready for this journey? And then how do we take those next steps?
Yeah. So the initial conversations were about, hey, how do we kind of update our look and feel and website, those type of things, so that people in our community see us as being relevant to them.
Mm-hmm.
And so that started kind of a process where we asked some questions and then came up with some solutions, some answers. Like, you already had it. Like, it wasn't like you already had it. We just need to figure out, like, how do we communicate that? What does it look like? Those type of things. I guess, how did you decide who would be in the room for this process?
Well, and I was thinking about that. It's really two parts to that question. First of all, our team, I'll get to that in a moment, but who are we going to work with was really important. So there was a smaller group of us that started out really researching marketing teams and marketing firms like yourself. And one of the things, I'm sure I never shared this with you, but we actually went out and we took a look at like 4 or 5 marketing firms, and we went deeper and deeper with them, even to the point of interviews, taking a look at what they had done, where they had connected, and how they did it, that they were able to really take and draw people in, not just splashing something up to make it look cool, but really help people on a journey. So they were able to fox out those deeper parts of the culture, the touch points around Christ, and what was really going to make that journey so solid to help people come into faith. So that's what I appreciated. And Michael, as you know, we're working with you, and that's really where it came down to. It really, in the end, it was like, boy, we need to go with Michael. This is awesome, and felt the best fit there. The second part was really stepping in with our team. You mentioned it before, is we wanted a diverse team that really represented our culture. If our vision is to be a diverse community, we wanted to make sure we represented that in all ages and stages of life, cultural diversity as well. And when that team came together, even parts of our leadership, our youth, our young adults, we wanted to draw all those people into it. It was exciting because I knew something was going to take place. We stuck in there and worked on unity in that process. We were going to come out with a real tight team. And we were really excited about that team, especially as they took this whole process out into the congregation. But hopefully that touches on it.
Yeah, that was great. So definitely a good mix of people that were very engaged.
It was good. It was good.
It was just like these different perspectives and backgrounds coming together, talking into, what that looked like. And then finally kind of figuring out, okay, well, this is what we mean. This is who we are, those type of things. So ultimately that helps us to create a very clear brand that people can then understand quickly. And what people understand quickly is what they'll buy into. So that was our hope in creating a lot of those things. Can you describe a little bit of the process? And we talked around it a little bit, but I'm not sure. I'm sure you guys, like, I saw it from my perspective. Like, we got on a few phone calls, some Zoom calls, and walked through some things. But I'm sure on the back end of it, there was a little bit more going on as well.
Yeah. So the process, and I really appreciated the prompts that you brought to take a look at different things, and sort of you laid out sort of a journey path that helped us into a framework. That was really good. And each step of the framework, a couple of things took place. One, the conversations were deep. And like you mentioned, we literally felt like we got stuck on some things, and we would move forward and we'd come back to it, because as you go through the process of this journey, your forward journey also informs where you were, and it brought things up that we go, wow, we can bring greater clarity to that. So it was really important to stick with the process that you had, and coming out of it was a lot of clarity. And, because our team was diverse, we're able to really be able to, in the end, speak into the process, those steps, experiencing God, working together in a small group, in community, discovering your purpose, and then serving, it became very clear that we could articulate that well. So it was really good.
Yeah. So out of that, we created your new logo. So we had so much clarity. So as a designer, a person that's trying to design something, the more input I have, the more I know what kind of choices to make. So you guys gave so much good input of like, no, this is who we are. This is it. This is how we need to say it. I just felt like, oh man, I can't lose. Like I have so much to go on that, we're able to design something that really represented you. How did that, as you reveal that logo, how did that go? Like, how did people respond to it?
It was great, but let me jump into that logo. One of the things that took place, I think that really helped us with reflecting back is we had sub-team time between our meetings, our Zoom calls with the big team. And in that time, really wrestled down definitions of some words to make sure that we were all in concert on what those definitions mean so we could articulate them well. And that was really important. So when we came back, you just nailed the logo. I remember when you first revealed it, everyone in the team went, oh, wow, that's awesome. And it was very attractional. It was relevant. It was crisp and clean. It was motivating. It was easy for us to grab a hold of and actually share with people. And, our greater audience walked through that same process as we rolled it out to our staff and our board and the congregation. It's like, wow, this is good. This is crisp. This was right on target for where we needed to be and where we're going.
Yeah, again, that's just the result, I think, of the whole process. Like you guys did such a good job of kind of working through all this that I felt like, oh, this is it. Like, I know exactly what to do. Yeah. So as a designer, like that's what you're looking for. Okay. You said this. Oh, okay. Well, then this could represent that really well. So for me, it just felt like, oh, this is just an easy process because you guys did so much work on the back end.
Well, thank you. I remember when we started this whole process, you said, what's a win for you? And I said, when I hear the aha moment that comes when we do something and go, that's it. And we all land on it. That's what I was listening for. And that's what I was hearing along the process.
Wow. So what was the biggest struggle with the rebrand? Like from your perspective?
Oh my gosh. The biggest, your work on the website, your work on the logo and stuff, all exceptional. I would probably say the biggest struggle for us was more internal to us, is really keeping the perspective on the new person. And thank you for those prompts that helped us on, we're welcoming new people. So the front page of the website and our brand was really to touch that touch point to bring people in. So clearly defining terminology was another one of our ongoing just wrestling, making sure that we kept that goal in mind, developing next steps, making sure everyone had the next steps clear and sort of like, oh, you're here, here's your next step. How can I help you? How can I walk with you on that? And so all the pathways on the website really lead back to your next step, which is really we're just so enjoying it. And I can tell you side stories of, discover your purpose and how we're having, meetings with people and stuff and people are connecting. It's really good. It's exciting. The other one was, though we were very focused on the new person, reaching out to our community and drawing people in, we wanted to make sure we were touching the breadth of our audience. And that was, we wanted to make sure we continuously reached and were building into people that were already connected in the church. So holding both those and saying it's not one or the other, it's both, and we want excellence in both, was key to the process. And I really feel like our end product that you helped us with on the website and logo really achieved that. And that's why we're so excited and moving forward on things.
Yeah, it was again a great process. I think you were kind of the thing that made it all work really well. your prompts and kind of getting everybody to kind of sum up and kind of, gather back together, and those type of things made it all work so well. It seems like you're just doing what you were born to do.
Well, thank you. It made a good team, and the team's just excited to be where we're at. We're having we're instituting these pathways throughout our processes at church, and we see people on them. They're connecting, it's working, and in that, it's ultimately, this is God's glory, right? We're here with tools and care for one another and working together as a team to really bring the kingdom growth and to bring God glory, because we want to honor him. That's what it's all about.
Oh, that's good. That's a great way to wrap it up. Hey, Dain, thanks for sharing. I think there's a lot of things that'll come out of this that, you never know what people take away from it.
Sure.
But thanks for sharing your process, your journey, the fact that, it was a good, in a good way, like the best way possible. It was a struggle to kind of figure this out. I think it's going to encourage a lot of people. So thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you, Michael, and thanks for working together. And I know our work continues. That's what's exciting. We have more projects online that we're going to work on, and we'll dive in with those as well. Bless you.
Thank you. How can people connect with you if they have any further questions?
Sure. People can connect with me at MCC, Montgomery Community Church. My email is djepson, first initial, my first name, and Jepson, Jepson, @mcc.church. Glad to interact with them.
All right. Well, thanks again, Dain. And hey, for all you guys that are out there looking to rebrand, again, Montgomery Community Church had been around for a really long time. Very healthy, strong, thriving church. So just for our audience to relate to, Dain, how many people on a weekend typically come to MCC?
Oh, right now, well, this is the whole COVID thing, right? Our online took off. We're looking at 600-700 people online, close to 500 people in-house. So we're actually, through the whole thing, our total connectivity grew a little. So it's exciting, but people continue to come back. So it's good. We want to serve more where they're at, which is really important right now.
I hope that conversation with Dain inspired you, or even just equipped you to go through the branding process if you're thinking about it, or if you're just wondering if your church has a strong brand. That conversation, I think, will give you some good insights on what it looks like to have a good brand, and then also what the process looks like, so that you can then make a decision if that's something you need to do with your church. If you want to contact me, go to churchbrandguide.com. Let's have a conversation and see if I might be able to help you with this process. I do this all the time with different churches all around the country, and maybe we're a good fit where I can help you walk through this process. Or at the very least, I'd love to answer your questions and help you go further. There's 4 big things that you have to do in the branding process. Number 1 is create the strategy, and yes, that comes first. Otherwise, you're just kind of shooting in the wind and hoping for the best. But once we have a really good strategy, and there's a framework that I want to walk you through that helps us get the right strategy. There's just a way to do it that gets you the results that you want, just like Dain was talking about. So I want to walk you through that. The first thing is strategy. The second thing is your logo. Logo is the thing that's seen the most, so we just need to make sure that's done right. With the logo comes your brand elements, such as colors and fonts. So we just want to make sure that's locked in, that's right. And that way you can be consistent for a long period of time. The third thing is your website. It's the front door. It's where people go to first. Your website has to be a well-designed website that's designed to engage people. It should look good and represent really well and have a great user experience. And it should connect people to who you are, so that when they see you online and they come in person, there's an alignment that takes place. And then the fourth thing is your signage and your graphics, those type of things, those visual things. As people come onto your property, we just want to make sure that everything is in alignment. Even the online experience, your Facebook banner or your YouTube banner, or maybe you have some ads that you run. We just want to make sure that all that's in alignment. So those 4 things: strategy, logo, website, and your signage and design collateral. Those 4 things have to be lined up so that we have a strong brand that people will trust over time as they see it and encounter it over and over again. So again, go to churchbrandguide.com if that's something you want to engage in. I'd love to talk to you and see where that comes from. Thanks for listening today. I really enjoy putting together these podcast episodes and hearing how this has helped people as I, get on the phone and talk to people. I get a lot of feedback of how helpful this is and just knowing what the process is. And it's been a wonderful thing for me to be able to do. I'd love if you would subscribe to the podcast. When you subscribe, it helps more people engage with the podcast. So I'd appreciate it if you do that. Leave a review if you can. Just let me know how this is helping you. And also, we are available online. This podcast is on video on YouTube. So if you're listening to this podcast episode and you want to see some of the website for Montgomery Church or the logo design concepts that we came up with, you can go and see it on YouTube. I also stream that on the website. There's a little post area where you can go to podcast and you can see the video of the podcast episode, which will show you the visual elements that we came up with. Again, my hope, my goal in doing all of this is to inspire you to help church leaders just like you to get this right. It kind of bothers me when I see a really bad brand, especially in the church world, because I know the impact that it makes, and I really want to help you get this right. So hopefully these resources help you out and help you to take next steps. There's also a free download on my website. If you haven't gotten it already, it just walks you through the branding process, gives you a checklist of what you need to make sure you have in place. It'll be very, very helpful if you're thinking about this. So go to churchbrandguide.com and just download it. It's for free. I'd love to help you out. Thanks again for joining us on this episode, and I'll see you next time.